again, and today in the LifeWave mini series I'm doing where I'm talking about common mistakes and misconceptions that people have around using the patches and or the business. Today's topic is a big one. It's not that it's very common, but I did want to address it because some people have asked me this question. They said, well, Dr. Karen, well, what if somebody doesn't think the patches are working? Like they don't feel anything. Like, is it really not working, or is there something wrong or something that we can do? So I'd like to answer that question. Now, there's a lot of things I want to share today, so I decided I was going to make a little PowerPoint slide presentation. So let's take a look. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. There we go. Awesome. Okay, so what happens when you don't think something is happening? Well, here's the thing. Some people are making these mistakes, so we want to make sure that you're not making these mistakes so that you can get the best out of your patches. I've had some people cut patches in half because they were trying to save money, thinking that if they only used half the patch, they could use the other half tomorrow. Well, here's the thing. Inside the patches, there are crystals and in a membrane with some water and oxygen, and if you cut them, you may ruin the integrity of the patch, and therefore it may not work for you. The other mistake is using them for too long a period of time. I know there are some people who swear that they work for 3 days, and they may very well in certain people, but the average person have the best success when they use the patches for about 12 hours, especially the X39 and X49 stem cell enhancing patches. We have had a number of people, a very small amount, notice that when they're very strict about taking the patches off after 12 hours and then giving their body a 12-hour break between the next, patchings of the X39 especially, then they find that the results are better. So we want to make sure that you're not overusing them. The other mistake that is unfortunately common, which I wish it wasn't, is that two of our patches actually have two colors. They're the energy enhancer patches and the LifeWave patches. So when you first, open the patch, this is literally a new package of LifeWave here. So you take the two ends off here, right? Now, ideally, you talk to your sponsor or your distributor that you bought the patches from and get clear instructions on how to use them. But regardless, sometimes we find, even if I do give clear instructions, some people forget by the time they get their patches. So when you open the flap, okay, you'll actually see for some people the patches are sticking up. Now, if you look carefully, there's actually a divider in the middle, okay? It's seemingly subtle. I mean, it'd be great if it were like red or something like that, but that make the packaging much more expensive. So there's a divider. One color is on one side of the divider, and the other color is on the other side of the divider. So if you're using LifeWave and energy enhancer patches, make sure that for each application, you use a white and a tan patch, not just one of the colors. Now, the other patches are single patches, and they're all white in color. So when people start with that, sometimes they just assume it's just a single patch and it's a white one. So they don't actually see the tan one, and they don't use the tan one with the white. But for LifeWave and energy, it's very important to use both. Otherwise, you will not get the results. The other mistake that people make is overusing a point on their body. Now, I realize that some of the package inserts like the X39, X49 only have 2 points. But here's the thing. With those 2 patches, you can put that on any area of the body that you have a challenge, or you can put it right on where the brochure points. And the reason that they don't have multiple points, my understanding, is that in America, the FDA, FTC has, let's say, just told companies that they can't put on their instructions anything that they did not clinically test in their research. So even though there's like thousands of people having amazing results around the world on different points, different places, when they have a wound, they put it near the wound, things like that. The company really isn't allowed to put that in the brochure. So if you use the same point over and over and over and over and over again, 24/7, you'll burn out that point. In other words, that acupuncture point it's sort of like yelling in someone's ear too loudly, like they start getting deaf. So it's very good to change it up a little bit. And that could be as simple as moving the patch up just a few inches up or a few inches down. Yeah, that simple. Okay. If you don't have any problem areas where you want to put the X39 or X49 specifically on those areas, then, and you want to use the midline, just go ahead and just place the patch slightly up or slightly down from where you have had it so you don't burn out that point. And also the skin doesn't get as irritated when you use different points. Now, the other patches, there are more point options there, so it's unlikely that you would burn out a point or cause irritation on the skin. So the other mistake people make is not hydrating enough during the day. So hydration, like for example, if I've got this, 32-ounce water bottle, ideally, you want to sip, two of those. You want to sip that throughout the day, like every hour, on the hour, sipping, 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 a little on the way. That is the best way to trickle in the hydration to get it into the cells. Otherwise, if you overload too much, you'll just pee a lot of it out, right? Can I say pee on YouTube? Anyway, um, so not hydrating enough is an issue. We could go into quality water and all that kind of stuff, but for the most part, patches work really, really well in the grand majority of people. So you don't really have to get a lot fancier than that. The other mistake that some people make is relying on the patches to fix a very unhealthy lifestyle. So it doesn't matter if you are, using a med bed or using patches or, using the most expensive supplement on the planet. If you don't have a relatively basic healthy lifestyle, don't think that it's going to fix that. Okay, so if you're smoking, if you're drinking, soda, eating lots of sugar, staying up really, really late, not getting enough sleep, things like that, or eating, toxic food, then it's kind of like two steps forward, one step back. So most people who use the patches are very passionate about natural health and wellness. So they more than likely have a healthier lifestyle, which is wonderful, right? So that's really good. But we can't expect, Uncle Joe, who's sitting on the couch eating potato chips all day long and watching, I don't know, army movies, okay, whatever. To just put a patch on without drinking water, without, caring about their body, to have that patch fix everything, right? So I think we have to be reasonable about it that, you do need to still take care of your body. The nice thing about the patches is it makes everything faster, helps your body heal itself faster because you have the right energy, the right frequencies that empower the body to help heal itself. So that's where we've seen amazing results, like whether that be scar tissue disappearing, all my acne, pimples, zits, like rough skin, disappearing, people having, reduction in pain, wrinkles going away, all sorts of things. Anyway, so definitely at least have a minimum healthy lifestyle. The other mistake that I see people making, and this is more subtle, is that they blindly follow whatever recipe they find online. So they'll be like, oh, this is a patching protocol for X, Y, or Z, right? And sometimes it's free, sometimes, they're even, following my micro trainings, and they think that's it. If, this doesn't work, then that's the end of that. Well, here's the thing. Everyone is different. Their energy systems are different. And in Chinese medicine, we actually give specific therapies or prescriptions for each person. The cool thing about LifeWave is, for the most part, 85 to 90% of people don't need anything special. They just need to follow what's in the brochure. Very, very simple guidelines. However, there are some people who want to get super fancy. I understand, because you want some sort of recipe. So they have a prostate issue and they go and either buy a class or look at this protocol, which has like 6 different patches, and then they start using it and then they don't feel good and they don't realize they're, detoxing too much because they're a brand new person, right? And then they go, well, this doesn't work. I feel horrible. So just be careful about this blind blanket trust in every single recipe, because that recipe may or may not be for you. It's better to know the basics, to know the principles of what the patches do, and actually, maybe even go a little slower. And that's where your distributor, or if you're a distributor yourself, your upline support come into place so they can share with you the right resources, the company brochures, their own experience, so you don't feel like alone and not knowing what you're doing. So I'm not a big fan of, blanket recipes for every single symptom, because there are different energetic balances. So I actually teach my team, the principles behind the patching, so they can actually experiment with their own patching protocols and show them the principles behind that. So the other thing that people do is they don't follow or track their progress. I can't tell you how many times, as a medical doctor and an acupuncturist, that you know, somebody would come to me and say, okay, well, I have this problem. So I have, a headache, I got a bellyache, and, my toe hurts or whatever, right? And then, we'll do what we're doing. And the next time they come in, maybe 2 weeks later, they're now complaining of, they want to work on their weight, and they want to work on their, their arguments with their sister. And then when I ask them about the headache, bellyache, and the toe pain, they're like, oh, yeah, no, I don't have those anymore, right? But it's like they didn't start telling me that because they didn't even notice that it was gone. And this is very common. We as humans have been trained and unfortunately indoctrinated in paying attention to what is wrong with ourselves, not what is right. So keeping track is really important. And LifeWave has a beautiful tool called the LifeWave Health Tracker, and it has several different signs and of wellness, and you can actually put week to week how you're doing, because some people don't even realize that they've improved in so many different areas because they didn't think about it. Somebody might say, well, gee, I wanted to use X39 for my knee pain, and I don't know, it's okay. After 2 weeks, I don't really notice I feel a difference, right? But when they look at their health tracker, they realize, well, actually, I don't have to take a nap anymore in the middle of the day. And wow, I did my walk in half the time because I'm a lot faster. And wow, my appetite's gone down. And wow, my scar tissue is going away. And wow, I sleep deeper and I have dreams now. And wow, my mood's better, right? You know what I mean? So keeping track is really important. So the other mistake that people make is not asking for help and support. You can't fix it if you don't know what's wrong, right? So, there's tons of people with great experience, and I'll share with you, my group a little bit later. So if you, for whatever reason, don't have the support of your upline, or don't have the support of the person you bought them for because they're no longer, doing the business or whatever, you can still get help. You can still get help from LifeWave Corporate. They have a Facebook page and a group and a YouTube. So you can definitely check out LifeWave Health at YouTube. But if you want more, customized support, then if you're a distributor, go ahead and ask customer support to give you somebody upline of you, okay, who is active in the business and who may know the answer. Customer service may not be able to give patching support, okay, because that's not their job. But we are here to teach and support each other. And that's one of the reasons why I'm doing these free videos for all my LifeWave family all over the world for free, because I just want them to have the information and to make it easier for them in doing their business and also having great results. And last but not least, one of the other mistakes is what I call unrealistic expectations. Okay, what do I mean by that? Hi, Sue. Hi, Taylor. I'll give you an example. So, you might have somebody who has like a list of problems, okay, like a mile long. And they're using patches, and after a month, maybe even after 2 months of using X39, because that's the one that's our bestseller, they're like, well, I don't notice anything, right? But realize that some of their chronic health issues have spanned 4 or 5 decades, okay? And expecting, especially, nobody has a perfect lifestyle, right? But even if you did, expecting the patch to erase and undo 3 to 5 decades of imbalances and issues is a little bit asking too much. It does work incredibly fast, faster than anything else I've ever seen. Really, this technology is amazing. But like I said, if you're not tracking, then you might not notice the difference. And if you're not following the instructions, you may not notice the difference, right? So I'd say, be realistic about your expectations. Like most people that are taking a new medication, for example, they could be waiting like 3 months for some sort of thing to happen. Same thing with supplements. The minimum is 3 to 6 months to notice the difference, right? So if you're using LifeWave patches and in 2 weeks or even a month, you're like, well, I'm not really sure if it's doing anything. Hey, if you got a really long list of things you want, quote unquote, fixed or your body to fix itself, I highly encourage you to be a little bit more patient. So there are some certain special circumstances I do want to talk about right now, right? So people with chronic or complex, issues, what we usually say is, um, symptom relief is one piece, but true healing is your body healing itself at a deeper level, which is why I'm a big fan of the X39 stem cell enhancing patches and now the X49, because it helps that underlying foundational issue, not just working on the symptoms. So if your body can make its own stem cells and reset your genes because of the GHK copper peptide, for example, a third of your genome can be reset to a younger, healthier state. The result of that's going to be a long-term thing. So if you have chronic or complex issues, I, hope that you will be patient enough to use the patches for at least 6 months. Okay, especially the X39. Now, that being said, the ice wave, if you have pain, chronic or acute pain, minutes. Okay, minutes. So if you know what you're doing, and there's plenty of information on how to use these patches online and in your brochures, if you're doing it correctly and you're hydrated, minutes. Okay, sometimes seconds for the pain to go away. But for other things, it may take 3 to 6 months as far as X39. With the other older patches, the energy enhancers, the glutathione, carnosine, all of them work almost immediately within minutes. The only thing is, can you tell that they're working, right? Some people can't tell, they're not actually in their bodies. And, for example, let me just show you, let me see here if I can, let me remove that for a sec and go in here and share my screen. There we go. Okay, this is going to be like just for a bit here. Okay, so on the LifeWave page, if we go back to the regular LifeWave page, if you go to products, okay, and you go down to the science, all right, so, and you can go to featured research, published studies, whatever. So we'll just go ahead and say featured research here. So you'll actually see some of the double-blind, placebo-controlled research, some of the research where they've used instrumentation to document what happens energetically in the body. And many, many, many of the patches have shown to increase the function and health and wellness of the different organs, glands, and cells. And here's the really cool thing is you can just go to the science page. And let's see if I can find this one. Let's see here, the brain one. Okay, that's the metabolic one. Okay, let's see if I can show you this one. Oh, yeah, hopefully you can see that. So here, we have brain changes with, the X39 patches over a number of weeks. And here's the thing, unless you're testing the person, they may not notice that they have an improvement in their ability to think clearly, think cohesively, right? We go from a state of intense disorganization in the brain to more organization, less less stress to more relaxation. It's documented that it's doing something very positive, but some people may not know, what is going on unless they know the instrumentation. So the research can be super, super helpful. The other thing too, special circumstances, is that there could be some nutrient deficiencies, and that does slow down the ability of the patches to work really well. So things like magnesium deficiency, zinc deficiency, just general mineral deficiency. Those are just a couple. And for the X39, copper deficiency, which can be common, especially among vegans. So nutrient deficiencies, unfortunately, are common, but as far as the LifeWave patches not working, you'd have to be pretty darn efficient, okay, for them not to do anything in the body. I'm not sure that's ever been shown, but one of the things, that if you have had a lot of stress in your life, if you've had a lot of chronic issues, if you're on a lot of medications or used to be, you may very well be mineral deficient. So you should go talk to your healthcare provider, especially if they're like a naturopath, about making sure that you have enough minerals on board. Now, the next two I'm going to talk about special circumstances are less common, but also I want you to know about them. Okay. So, I've had some distributors say to me, wow, I, patched Auntie so-and-so and, first it worked and then she didn't want to buy them, or she said there was a problem, or there seems to be problem after problem with this person. And again, it's pretty rare, but we've seen this in medicine too, where people actually have a secondary gain not to be better. Okay, just case in point, I had a class where I had, like, I don't know, 25 people in it, brand new, didn't really know them. And I had several of my distributors, and we were teaching people back then, many years ago, how to use the LifeWave patches to relieve pain. And we had like 10 people up there, and we taught everyone how to do the patching protocol. It's very easy. And everybody could do it, right? And every single one of those 10 people got out of pain. But I knew in the audience was the wife of a medical doctor. Yeah, I wasn't nervous. Anyway, so a medical doctor friend of mine, his wife was there. He said, well, she's tried everything, and I don't know, last ditch, I thought I'd come to you and see if she's willing to try it, right? So, I'm looking right at her, and I'm like, would anyone else like to volunteer and get out of pain? If you don't want to do it in front of the class, we can do it, privately, after class. Be happy to do that. Well, she did not volunteer. She did not say a word, and she left. So later on, I'm catching up with everybody who, went to the class. And all she could say was, well, I didn't think your presentation was very professional because you cracked too many jokes. I'm a university professor. And I was like, okay. So I cracked too many jokes. So I'm thinking to myself, you saw 10 out of 10 people get out of pain. Okay. And most of them went from like a 9, 10, 8 out of 10 to like 2, 3, 0. Okay. So she saw with her own eyes that these people were getting out of pain. She could see the guy, okay, with like this shoulder issue, right, who couldn't lift up more like this, able to lift his arm up after a few minutes. And what does she do? She just complained that I cracked too many jokes. She wouldn't even try it. Okay, so this is a pure example of someone with secondary gain. Felt bad for her husband, but you never know what's going on behind closed doors, right? So she didn't even want to try it. So that's someone who doesn't want to do it. Now, here's the other scenario I've seen as well. It happens in the doctor's office, acupuncturist's office. Everybody who's a clinician knows this one, right? They actually get better. So we actually have someone, for example, we patch for the first time, and their eyes go like this, and we see it all the time. Their eyes go like this. They can't believe it, and they're like, am I dreaming? Wow. Oh my God. The pain's better. And we're like, oh, that's fantastic. That's great, right? So then we're like, okay, so do you want to try it for a week? Do you want to try it for a month? In the past, I used to break up a package, because I was like, anyway, long story. But I was like, I'll break up a package for you, so you don't have to buy all 30 days. Just try it for 10 days. And they go, no, thanks. And I'm like, wait a second. You just told me you've had 25 years of pain. We just got you out of pain. And you spent tens of thousands of dollars on doctors and other things and therapies and all these kinds of things and all that time. We just got you out of pain, and you don't want to go forward? No, not really. Okay, that's secondary gain. I'm not being hard on these people. I'm just telling you that this happens. So don't take it personally. If you're like, I don't understand why Auntie Janie doesn't want to, we got her out of pain. Like, what's going on? It's secondary gain. So attention, like maybe they want attention from people. Maybe they want love from people. Maybe they have disability insurance and they want to keep getting it. So they don't actually want to, on a subconscious level, want to get better. So just keep that in mind, okay? And then all you do, if you're the loving, person that's trying to help them, just move on. Just move on. Don't try to force things. Don't try to make them want something that they're not ready to want, right? And last but not least, again, special circumstances is on occasion, there are some either mental, emotional, or even spiritual energies or things or circumstances where the patches, because they work on this physiologic basis, if whatever the symptom is caused by some of these other things, mental, emotional, spiritual issues, the patches may or may not be able to address that. And I am the first person to say that that does happen to me. I am a spiritual healer as well as a light medicine doctor. And if there's something going on globally that I can feel empathically through my body, and I have a symptom, like say, a pounding, pineal gland headache. Okay, that's what I used to get. It was so bad. It didn't matter what I patched. Now I could definitely patch to help my brain balance itself, but the pain wouldn't go away despite everything I did until I just lied down and just let it process whatever was going on, whatever I was empathically feeling, let it process out. The next day I was good as gold. Okay, so I had the supportive patches, but I didn't have the immediate pain relief like I normally do with the LifeWave in the other patches. So sometimes if they try everything, especially patches, and or they're highly sensitive and it doesn't seem to work and there's no secondary gain that you can think about, it might be, a spiritual issue. Okay, so that requires other expertise, not something we're going to talk about today. So just keep that in mind. So how can you optimize your success with the patches? Number one, hydrate, right? So you want to trickle charge your water, about 64 ounces or 2 liters of water per day. Just trickle it in. So a little bit at a time, now that I've been talking for a little bit. A couple sips at a time, okay? Minerals. So if you've had lots of stress, chronic illness, you may want to make sure that you have enough minerals, especially magnesium and zinc. Those are the two biggies. Definitely follow the instructions. Each of them have a brochure. And if you're like, oh my gosh, it's so small, I can't see it. Okay, I'll show you what else you can do. So I'm going to go here to share my screen again. Let me go here. Okay. So right here is the LifeWave Success Library. So all one word, LifeWave Success Library. This is open and public to all. And you can go to the Success Library to download some PDFs. So if for whatever reason you're like, wow, the brochures, I can't read them, they're too small, whatever, you can scroll down here, okay, and you can get this guide called the Product Training Guide. And in this guide, you can download for yourself, it shows you every single patch that we have, with the exception of the newest one at the time of this recording. The X49 is in pre-launch, so it's not included here just yet. But you get a little blurb on what it does, what symptoms it helps, and the different points that you can use them on. So, and how to use them, okay? So it's very, very easy to follow the instructions. All right, so what else? Let's go ahead and remove that. Let's put in here. Okay, so ask for help and support. So ask for help and support from your distributor, from your upline, from the person you bought it for. And if they don't know, go to someone upline of them, ask customer service for to find you someone if you don't know anyone. The other thing I want you to do is to be patient if you have chronic long-term symptoms. So just be patient. So with X39, that may be 3 months. That may be 6 months. Now with the other things, like with energy enhancers, with glutathione patch, with LifeWave, those are much faster. So you don't have to wait 3 months, for those for you to notice that they're working. Avoid toxins the best you can, because again, all the patches have an ability to detoxify the body, so you don't want to be adding toxins when you try to get rid of toxins, right? To get the best results. Use my brain balancing protocol if you feel like you've been really, really stressed, or you've had a head injury, because sometimes those things can interfere with the ability for your body to respond efficiently. So let me go ahead and share that again. I actually have another series on YouTube. It's called LifeWave Phototherapy Micro Trainings. So I have a micro training on my brain balancing protocol, and added in what's called the advanced brain balancing protocol. You don't have to do the advanced part necessarily, but Dr. Dennis actually shared that with me. So we shared both options here in this video. So if you're watching this on one of the platforms like YouTube, I'll put the link to this micro training at the bottom of the description after I'm done this video, so you can easily access that. Okay, so what else? LifeWave Success Tracker. That is also on the LifeWave website, and you can have your distributor or the person you're working with actually give you a copy of that PDF. For my team, I actually made it fillable, so there's a fillable version, but it's very, very important to track your success. The other things you can do to optimize your success is actually participate in the weekly LifeWave events. There's a weekly webinar. Some are products, some are more business, so choose the one that best serves you. Make sure that you get enough nutrition, so balanced protein and minerals. I'm a big fan of bone broth because it has so many minerals in it. Some people don't even have to take extra minerals because they take bone broth a cup a day. But if you're vegan or vegetarian, it's a little bit more, well, sometimes hard to get the right balance of amino acids, in the body, because you do need those protein amino acids to build things in the body, and the patches tell your body to build these things, like AHK copper peptide or GHK copper peptide, right? So if you don't have enough of certain amino acids, you may not be able to build it. For X39, for example, if you're vegan, you may not be getting as much copper as you need, because you're not eating liver or oysters or meat. So you may want to get a chelated, that's spelled chelated, copper supplement. Again, talk to your naturopath about that. And definitely, if you're vegan, I hope that you're working with a holistic nutritionist who knows what they're doing to make sure you have the perfect proportion of nutrients, because sometimes it can be really easy for you to have deficiencies. It's a lot easier to get the nutrition through meats, and you don't have to be as good a cook. But if you're vegan, definitely make sure you're working with a holistic nutritionist. At least that's my personal advice. And then you can also consider supplementation, like sometimes essential oils or fatty acids are not enough because you're not eating, animal products or butter or ghee. Fish, etc. So you may wish to use something like Parnilla oil, which one of our downline members, Anna Kadina, has had a lot of success with, and she personally likes that and recommends that. But again, work with your healthcare practitioner just to check in to see if you may benefit from supplementation, whether that's extra magnesium or zinc or minerals or copper or essential fatty acids, things like that. And last but not least, to optimize your success, just keep in mind that sometimes we have vested interests in certain things happening or not happening in our lives, and maybe there is a mental or emotional or spiritual component. So just continue introspectively looking into your inner world and seeing if there is possibly secondary gain if you're not seemingly getting results. How does that benefit you to not get results? And I'm not blaming you, because I've had this in the past, where I literally manifested an illness, like a fairly serious illness, and because I didn't want to get criticized by my parents because they were nice to me when I was sick and not so nice when I wasn't sick. Yeah, I know it sounds ridiculous, but I'm just being honest. So even the best of us can have these issues. So if you for whatever reason don't have upline support or would like additional support, there's a lot of really wonderful LifeWave distributors and customers in this group that is managed by my admin, Anna Kadina. So patchtrainingteam.com/PTT group is the link. I'll actually just type that in right now into the comments. That is a pretty link to go to the group. Please keep in mind that you will need to answer some questions to follow the rules. We can't deal with medical conditions. LifeWave doesn't cure, treat, prevent, any diseases or illnesses. So this is pretty much the end of my little presentation on, how to get the best out of your patches, some common mistakes that people make when they think that it's not working, where it actually really is. If you were actually to take instrumentation, you'll see that it's working. So I hope this is helpful. Would love to get your comments below. Tell me in the comments, like, what's the number one takeaway that you had for today after watching this video? Feel free to share this with anyone that you think may be helpful, that it may be helpful for. And if you're a LifeWave distributor, even if you're not on my team, absolutely share this to all your team members if you feel it's helpful. And like and subscribe, to my YouTube channel as well if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you have, at this point, because I'm recording a live here, if you have any questions, you can post them in the chat. Just for a few minutes, I'll stay a few minutes longer to answer some of your questions. Okay. All right, so let's see. Hi, Wendy from Malaysia. All right. Hi, Taylor. Hi, Sue. Taylor says, I use patches, but don't talk to whom referred from Facebook at all. I was wondering if I can join under you. Well, you know what? You should contact customer service, see who you originally bought them from, maybe be in contact with them. I have a lot of free stuff online, so you can definitely benefit from my free micro trainings, this series. And we have Honest group that you can join as well and to ask questions. So you may not need to switch groups necessarily, but you can go to the LifeWave website and just contact customer service and see what your options are. Okay, let's see if there's any other comments or questions. I don't think so. Okay, well, let me just show you real quick. This is the group on Facebook. Okay, that is open to all team members and non-team members. There's a specific one for my team members that I am admin for and answer questions personally. Here is a great option if, for whatever reason, like I said, you aren't getting the support or you would like additional support, you can join this group. You just hit the join button and make sure you answer all the qualifying questions, right? We want the right energy in this group. People that don't complain and things like that. They're really looking for answers and support, and to be willing to support other people as well. So that's what the group looks like currently on Facebook. Okay, fantastic, guys. Let's see. Oh, there is a question, Nancy, thinking, how many X39s can a person wear at the same time? Yeah, that's a great question. Normally, it's just one. However, I've had a number of people who are highly sensitive and actually kind of really can feel what's going on in their bodies. And I've had one person literally say to me, I put 3 on at a time. This was somebody who didn't really know very well. And when she got them, we hadn't gotten together to go over how to use them. And she says, oh, I love these. I said, what are you doing? And she says, well, I'm putting one here, one here, and one here. And so kind of odd places on the body. And I said, why are you using 3? And she goes, well, that's what I muscle tested to do. And you know what? I haven't walked this well in 11 years. I am thrilled. And I'm like, okay, keep doing what you're doing. Now, most of the time it's 1. Is it wrong to do more than that? Not really. There is a special protocol called the Tesla protocol, invented by Dr. Dennis Lobstein, and that's where you put 2 of the same patches, one right over the heart or one of the heart points. Okay, there's several heart points here. You can use this one. Anyway, so you put one on the heart point, and then you use your intention to activate the heart energy, and you put the second of the same patch. So in this case, it would be 1 X39 in the center of the chest or in a heart point. The second X39 would go to wherever it is on the body that you have an issue. So say you have, I don't know, say you want to support your ileocecal valve because you are constipated or you have chronic diarrhea or something like that, and somebody told you that your ileocecal valve is unhappy, right? Just an example, random example. And so you can put the second patch of the X39 right over that part on your belly where the ileocecal valve is. Or you can put one on the side of your chest, and using your heart field and your intention, maybe put one, on the side of your head, if you've had a head injury. So, that's one of the protocols that you can use with double X39. I don't recommend like 7 of them. And even if there's another protocol called surround the dragon. So this is usually an acute injury. You can surround the area with a number of the same patches, and it tells the body to focus frequency and energy to heal that area. And I did that with uh, one of my patients a while back, where he ripped one of his leg muscles, like literally ripped it off the bone. He slipped and was carrying really heavy stuff. So normally, somebody like that would be pretty much on crutches and not really movable 6 to 8 weeks. But we got him up and at him within about a month. Sorry, a week. Sorry, not a month. A week or so. And how we did that was we did this around the dragon. Now we did that with acupuncture because he was a patient, but at home I had him patch the same patch all the way around. So I think in his case we might have used, I can't remember, was it 4 Eon or 4X39s or 3X39s. Anyway, so the minimum is usually 3, where you surround the area, depending on how big the area is. So in that case, you could use multiple X39s as well. I've also experimented with, like patching both my knees, but I didn't really notice a huge difference between using 1 or using 3. So at the end of the day, I say do whatever works for you. Yeah, it's not dangerous to use more than 1, but you may not need to, right? So you spend more money if you don't really need to. So just experiment and see how it works for you. Hi. Okay. Hello from Camano Island, Washington. Love learning intuitive placement. Thank you for this video. You're very welcome. Okay, guys, I'm going to run. Thank you so much for joining me. And this will be on the YouTube channel that I have, a playlist that I called LifeWave Mistakes. So you can find it here, and I'll try to, continue doing these on a regular basis to help you. And like I said, subscribe, like, and share with everyone that you think might like it. All right, take care. Have a great day.